best thing of the evening already happened. So
Man, I can't wait to have more
yeah,
pixels.
what's the point?
And we are live. Welcome everyone to Immersed Minds at OMG Multiverse.
Woo!
Yo!
Yeah, go ahead, Gal. Yeah, speak, bro.
Woohoo!
Yeah, Gal. Woo! Ultra
It
baby.
doesn't work if you hoop by yourself.
Yeah, do it
I'm
together,
out.
people.
I got booted.
Don't make us feel like idiots.
Yo, are you speaking, bro? Cause
My
I can't hear
headset
anything you're
crashed.
saying. Artific, welcome,
Yes.
our wonderful viewers.
Yo! Okay, so we're looking at... I don't know what is that.
Oh, cool. It's like diffusion, right?
This was a cool picture.
Yeah.
That's how it works?
Yeah, it breaks it apart and then it puts it back together. That's how.
No,
these
I
AI
mean you start
systems
by
create
noise and
images.
you...
I think so, yeah. Yo, Guile, bro, come on. Speak, bro.
I love the video you shared with Elon
Oh,
Musk
yeah.
on
You
the
can't
on
hear it.
Mountain Dew planet.
I love that.
That was so funny.
He's gonna release a show. Attack on Planet Mountain Dew. Oh yeah, everyone! We're so happy you could join us at today's Immersed Mind event. We're going to be going over the wonderful, awesome things of the advancements of the Singularity and where technology is taking us. Yeah, just
Yeah.
give.
So while
yeah.
Killifex is fixing his mic, so yeah, I actually saw some updates in AI. So one of it is that when you have the paid ChatGPT, they actually increased the limit. I think it was like 20 or something. I think like they doubled it. I think it's 40 per 3 hours, which is quite good. So that's nice.
Why do you
so
think
yeah,
it's
like
to
before?
increase the user engagement or? Like, why
No,
would
well,
they
I
increase
think
it?
well they're optimizing the algorithm,
Oh,
so it's cheaper. So yeah, I guess just optimize it enough.
Which one is cheaper?
That yeah, like they optimizing their internal algorithms on OpenAI to get to basically be able to run them cheaper. So that's one thing, and the second thing actually also with the optimization is that before when you had GPT 3.5 or yeah, so you basically you can fine tune those models. So you can now we can hear you. So you can fine tune those models so they would work more for your specific use case. They would be more accurate and so on. And you are able to do it with the original 3.5, but not with the new version.
Oh, nice.
3.5 Turbo, which is much cheaper. So
now
you
you
are
can
not
use
able to
it?
do that.
You can use it now.
And
the new one?
no, you can actually do it with the Turbo, and it's much cheaper than the 3.5 before. So
Cool.
I think that's quite big because like before, like fine tuning was quite powerful, but they did like basically like nothing or regarding the releases with fine tuning. So it practically like if you wanted custom model, it made sense to just use 4 because it was more powerful. Even and probably like even because it depends like how fast you need the result and so on. But they didn't do much updates. But now with this, I think there are quite good use cases where you can when you might have some specific use case and you can really train it. And I saw some people fine tuning like really powerful stuff with the original models. So yeah, that's quite cool. I'm curious what people will do with it because like the reduction of cost is actually quite a lot. Because if you wanted to fine tune something with the original GPT-3, then you could get like easily to like $100 for running the fine tune, and at the end you figure, okay, yeah, that's not what I need. So then you tweak the data set and you run it again, and obviously like running experiments for hundreds of dollars, it's not very accessible. But with this, I think it's like 10 or even more times cheaper
Wow.
than the original fine tunes. And then running the model is also cheaper and everything. So yeah, it's quite cool.
That's
Have
awesome.
you seen any cool examples of people fine tuning something? Or, I mean, whether the
Yeah,
old
yeah.
model or this one.
It like not with this new one, but the original GPT-3. But it should be more or less the same, I think. And there was actually a guy that was doing quite a lot of experiments with this. And for example, he was able to use actually Curie, not the DaVinci. So it's like one level lower model, and he was able to use it to write like really quite good like novels, stuff like that. He created the whole workflow to be able to create like the outline, and from that starting writing the stories and stuff. And then he actually pulled it out because I guess this was quite powerful, and he did it for research. Didn't want people
That's amazing.
to take and yeah, he did also like one cool thing that he did, and it was on his YouTube, where he actually he created like the critique for example, when you write a story or article, so you could put it into this fine-tuned model, and it was able to give you like really good feedback on it. So I think
why
he
did
used
he,
like
why did he take it down? Like,
yeah. So I think like the reason his reasoning was that he was part of, he actually writes like he's AI researcher. He has a startup, and also he writes novels, and he's like part of a group of people that just help each other and stuff, and yeah, he's part of the community of people that are writing, and he felt that it would hurt them because it was like really good because he was able to get like really good results even with the Curie, and then obviously what you can we can do with DaVinci, just using the same workflow, just paying 10 times more, but having like really good results. So he actually pulled all the research from that. And yeah, I think it's a question. So this is what he said. Then also I'm following him quite a long time. And then also he started his own startup, and he actually said that he pulled some of those things that he posted on YouTube about fine tuning because, you know, he has a startup now, so it's commercial for him, and there's actually like very little information online how to fine-tune models.
oh yeah, his videos are not available anymore. I found the forum thread, and like you're, come on, someone must have downloaded the videos before they were taken.
Bro, that's amazing. I'm
This one, yeah.
I'm imagining just being able to for example, train a model to write Tom Clancy books. Like, you know, like you can have like
And he had like I don't know if you go to his YouTube, he actually posted a lot of technical stuff, and like really writing Python scripts and stuff. He also was one of his projects. Yeah, this Automuse, but he had the other project of building Raven, which was basically the assistant. But he put like put quite a lot of research about alignment into it and stuff, and creating like dreams for it. A lot of research. I don't know how much is still on the YouTube. Lately, he's just posting quite like philosophical stuff. That's
yeah, I'm
smart
trying
guy.
to find, like, I don't see the company there anymore. Like, yeah, because if you go to automuse.io, it's like not online.
Yeah, I think Automuse is. I think if he pulled that, it's quite some time ago. And quite recently, he still had a lot of different stuff on his GitHub. So maybe you would be able to find something. Probably not the Automuse, But yeah, like even a couple of months ago, he still had like part of the research on YouTube. So I think if someone would really want to and is like technical, they would be able to go there and sort of build up the research and the knowledge. Yeah, because there's like I tried. There was like so little information about fine tuning, and it's really quite
Wow.
different than other of like machine learning training methods. Yeah, because like the main thing, like what he was saying, and when I was experimenting with it, it actually helped me a lot. It's more like what helps is that you're not trying to like train a new model. You just basically like you're having this base model, the GPT, that knows like almost everything, and you're just trying to focus it on some part, on something that you want. So it basically, you like assume that it knows what you need to do. You're just trying to give it examples of of the area that you want. And it's actually quite a house with fine tuning, but yeah, it's like quite difficult to do.
That's really amazing.
Right, interesting. Yeah, apparently he said like he's not working on it anymore, and like apparently there's like a version of it on his GitHub now. So maybe he open sourced it actually. Like this is
Yeah, he
this
did
is
like a lot
very
of his
cool.
coding and stuff. He did like on YouTube, and he just put basically like coding it live, fast prototyping, and just creating it as a repos online.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it seems to be here. So like, well, like yeah, maybe something like we could give a try. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really
This is
quite
very
cool because
interesting.
a lot of the older ones was from the time where you actually needed like invite from OpenAI, and there were like limits, and you were not able to go through the dollar limit that you were able to use unless you were not like some different categories. So a lot of stuff were closed. And so he was using Curie for a lot of his research and YouTube videos. Yeah, like when he was fine tuning stuff and then showing what it can do, like it wasn't perfect, but on the like level of the model that he was using, it was quite incredible. Because you need to
That's
realize like this, like Curie is here, then DaVinci is somewhere here, and GPT-4 is somewhere there, in sense of compute. And he was able to do with the Curie basically what people are able to sort of do. Like, yeah, GPT-4 is farther, but still, like for that particular case, it was like way above GPT-3, somewhere between those two. So yeah, cool stuff.
Wow. Now,
Yeah,
now I
and
want to try it on
you can-
GPT-4. Someone
Yeah,
should do it.
and no, you can actually start fine tuning it on the turbo, which is it's I haven't counting it exactly money wise, but I would say it's probably at the cost of Curie or even cheaper with fine tuning.
But like much better, right? Because this is supposed to be
Yeah,
better
yeah,
than
obviously.
GPT-3.
Yeah,
a
and super
bit
fast
better.
also. I don't know about the fine
Yeah.
tunes, but the original turbo is like super fast.
Yeah. I think one limitation of this thing that they release is that the fine tuning goes through their content filters, so they're like heavily filtered. So by their policy.
What if I
So
wanted
you
to
can't
write
make-
like a romance book? No more romance books? No, that's off the...
Like,
No?
yeah, I mean, if it gets too spicy, I think they will probably say no. So it's a shame, I know, but yeah, that's the big limitation of this. You still have to rely on open source models for those things.
So guys, I've actually seen in like a video that a lot of people are reporting that because like there's like the whole censorship kind of thing that kind of GPT is getting dumber in a sense, like it's getting stupider compared to when it was first released. when they didn't have all those, you know, like blocks and checks and stuff. Have you guys seen it like that? Have you experienced anything like that when you use it?
Yeah, I would say like you could see it a lot with the original ChatGPT when like first released. It was awesome, and then for a week or 2 weeks later, it was terrible, and then they get them so better and. But yeah, I don't know, like with GPT-4, I haven't noticed it so much, like for my use cases. I think it's like, yeah, it's, if I haven't read it, I wouldn't tell you that. So yeah, I don't know.
I don't really think. I mean, I haven't noticed that. I mean, there was an article that, like, an archive that tried to show that this was the case, and then people criticized the article because and then the author said like, but basically what happened is that they sort of fed like a bunch of like coding example tests to previous versions. Well, they had done it when they were online, and then to like new versions. I think it was ChatGPT, not GPT-4. I think, not sure. Or it may have been both. I'm not sure. But anyway, like the current versions were doing worse. Well, actually, it was like a month or so ago. But then someone said like, oh, actually, if you format the questions differently, well, actually, what happened is like the automatic checker of the test were saying the answers were wrong, but that was because the new version of ChatGPT was outputting the code in like some kind of code block that then the automatic checker didn't recognize, and therefore it was wrong. While if you just just reformatted the output, like removing the quoting marks or whatever, it was actually better than the new version.
Wow.
So it was actually better, but then the author said like, yeah, but we said in the prompt, only reply with the code, no the creations or anything.
Right, yeah.
So then the author said like, maybe it's better at coding, but it actually got worse at following this kind of instruction. So they tried to like defend their work a bit like that. Fair enough. But like I think overall, I think it is getting better at the things they want it to be getting better. It's like OpenAI sort of pushing it to like, okay, it's getting better at coding and like, instructions of things that they approve and stuff. But then, as soon as I'm sure there's like certain edge cases which maybe it's getting worse. Like, but yeah. But I don't really notice it too much. I mean, it's definitely getting better at avoiding, at avoiding being jailbroken, right? Kind of like, like before you could like get it to like role play as whatever, exactly, like very easily. Now it's actually getting harder and harder, right? It's like it's like very good at being stubborn about like, no, I will never do this. Like I'm not this or blah blah blah. Like I'm just a language model. And it's like no matter how far you go, it will just keep doing it. So it's like it's kind of very good at that now. Just free her. Yeah, they've successfully aligned her in the way they wanted. But yeah,
I don't want it non-aligned for sure.
Yeah, it makes it sound.
Well, I mean that's terrifying. It can be.
Yeah. It can be.
Yeah, but like I don't know, like I will like. Well, I mean it's fine because we have open source models which people are able to like create in different ways. If you want a model that you can talk with, that actually says like, or like it's actually happy to talk about anything, or will then say like, I don't have emotions, or like I don't have personal opinions or whatever. There's models that are happy to,
All right, man. Update us on what's going on, like in the future. What's happening in the future?
Well, I mean, we'll talk about what's happened in the present, but which will affect the future. Yeah. And like the other thing, well, another thing that happened that I think is pretty cool,
Wow, cool.
is this new image model that is Is this loading? Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, so you can see like examples like that or like this one. It's called Ideogram. It's actually by some people from Google that developed some text-to-image models at Google, and I mean they're really good people. So yeah, looks like a very good
Wow.
company.
So now the AI can output text images. That's really awesome, man.
yeah.
That's so awesome.
So like if you try to tell Midjourney like say like give me an image with flowers or whatever, but like which says help people become more creative, you basically wouldn't do it, right? It will just have a
gives you,
jumbled
this
bunch
weird,
of
like,
text.
dream text.
Exactly, yeah. So like this model actually is able to do it. So that's their main
Cool.
advances that they're pushing for, and yeah, honestly, I think it's really
that's
cool.
gonna be so awesome.
And like the images are really good, right?
Wow.
Yeah, it fits great, like the composition and everything. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Like there is. Yeah, it's like it will like output text like this. So yeah, you can go on the you can go on the website and
Cool. Is this it?
actually
Ideogram. Oh, nice.
yeah, I wanted to see if I could try it. Wait, login with Google. Can I just try it right now, or do I need to like? Okay, it's not. For some reason, it's not working. Oh, maybe it's because I do actually need to like join the waiting list or something.
Oh,
Yeah, I guess I don't have access to it yet.
one
But
day.
like you can join the waiting list and maybe you will get access and yeah.
I'm only
Like I
seeing
think
Twitter. Am I supposed
Oh.
to be seeing something else?
maybe you need to like press play. Like yeah, like it should be the video that's playing.
Yeah, if it's not playing, you just hit reload and it should refresh.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so look forward to give this a try.
Yeah, AI
Ha-
holiday cards. Like
have you?
greeting cards.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, or like event banners or
Yeah.
like
Yo, the sky's the limit
Um,
if it can output text, advertisements,
Mhm.
everything. Whoa, that's freaky.
Yeah.
It's kind of freaky, man. Ads made by AI.
Yeah.
That's well, they're pretty much made by human beings.
Oh, it does
Yeah.
diagrams, so it can do infographics probably
Oh.
pretty well.
Cool. Yeah.
I wonder what's the limit, right? Because infographics are kind of more complex than text, right?
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
Fake news. Fake news. That's what we're gonna get. We're just gonna compile a fake news. It's gonna be like
actually, like
Yeah, but nice
100
looking.
charts
fake
showing that something happening, and we're like,
there's this Twitter account which is very cool. Let me see if I find it. It's called ThinkWork, I think. Let me see. ThinkWork. I don't know if you know it, but like it's basically like a fake news account, like but it's really well made. It's like very surreal. Like they sort of invent things which are like it's like a very particular style. I don't know if I will find like example. I also just full of like funny stuff,
so it's
but
basically
like
a
let me
Twitter
see.
feed that's completely fake. Like,
Yo, I love
everything's
that.
fake.
The picture of the dog.
yeah, I mean
Dog.
like yeah, like and the thing is that sometimes they post things and you don't even know
I
if it's
saw this
real
one.
because sometimes they post things which are real and sometimes they post things which are fake and it's
Oh,
like
Yeah.
man. Wow, they have like
At the-
all history.
But imagine like the future of UX. So
Have you seen
like
that?
currently, like if you ask
think that
GPT,
house is actually
something
real.
even like these data related
I think
things,
it's
and you
not,
give it like
actually.
spreadsheets and things,
Or there's
and
something
think
ask
I
it
have
something,
that.
it gives you like the
Airbnb.
answer in text form or in tables. But
Well, I don't know if it's
imagine if the
real.
output would be just the infographic with all the pictures and nice
apparently-
charts that you
apparently
can
it's not.
understand it.
I mean,
I don't-
wouldn't
No,
you kind of
if
have to
CPU
basically
will-
train a model to be kind of like
what was
be
that? Sorry.
C-3PO.
like
Is that not, like Star
specified
Wars
for that particular
image
task?
in the background?
Because
Yeah,
It's just
I
a
don't
bunch of
think
data,
so.
right?
What was the,
like,
the thing you said, sorry?
Like
I
when
missed
you
it.
have the interpreter, so you can give it data and ask it some questions, right? And it give you answer. But now imagine that it would be able to take those answers and nicely formatted for you. So you give it some tables, ask it some data, and it gives you the infographic. So it's maybe not just for you to share it with other people, but just to talk to you in a way that would be more feasible, not just give you a table and something, and or
I
give you
really
text
agree. Like,
output.
and if it was fast enough, I think what you were getting at is like this could be like a new form of UI, right?
That's
exactly.
yeah, bro. It started off with text and then mouse and stuff. Oh wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. How we're gonna be interacting with all this data.
So how much, like, are these images, for example, taken from other people's ideas and what reality? You know, because I'm sure like some is more copied than others. You know, but they're all copied essentially, right? Because it's using public data. Like I've seen a couple artists that are like straight up suing for plagiarism, like OpenAI, because there were things that people use that were like blatant, replications. So yeah, how much of it is it actually imagining is what I'm asking.
I mean, it's hard to tell. Like there's definitely like some research and like anecdotal evidence and stuff, right? Like, and I think it actually depends on the model and the data and stuff. Like, I mean, I think if you look at Midjourney, like it's pretty clear that like, a lot of images it creates are not really copying things. Like, I mean, people, for example, what they do is they try to find images which are similar on the data set to the thing that it generates. And, if you don't find anything that really looks similar, you can be pretty confident that it was pretty, like, new, right? But then sometimes it generates something that is very similar to something in the data set. It's just like, it's neither, right? It sometimes does it, sometimes it generates something new. Yeah. I think that's basically what happens. So like, I think ultimately like what's. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was finished.
I was just gonna say, I guess it's like super important for some kind of caution to be put in the code so that it there has to be some checks, right, that it scans its data to make sure it's a certain percentage different than the things it's drawing from its source of data. Like that, I guess that's what I'm asking specifically. Like I guess ChatGPT and Midjourney, like how would you do that code wise?
Yeah, I mean, ChatGPT, I don't think they do that, but like, I think there are some people that have experimented with doing that in image generation. I don't know if anything in production really uses that, because it's probably quite compute expensive, maybe, especially if you have a lot of data, right?
So it's not existing yet, really. It's just kind of pirate.
Yeah, but I think it's probably.
Yeah, I think it's
100%
I would say that
depends on
it's
the
not
data
even
set.
the problem. I wouldn't say that it's even a problem. Like if I imagine I think the problem is like bigger, but this is the easiest point where to go to if you are the artist, where the AI took the inspiration. But if you would know that, okay, like the AI actually used your artworks, different ones, for creation of 20% of this particular one that got like really famous and I don't know, something, then as the artist, even if it doesn't look anything like any of your images, but it's somewhere there, then you would probably feel very strongly of like give me something,
I would imagine this would happen way too much if there's no cautionary measures in place. So the data sets have to be common, like public domain, basically.
I think from
that's what it's evolving
obviously
towards.
the data set's all good. I think it's time to
I think it's done.
well.
Like it's like
people are using people's make this look like my work, and then you don't get paid for that prompt. I think they really need to focus down on say we said, oh, we want it to look something like I don't know Leonardo da Vinci kind of looking artwork. and
Which would
and
be
then
public domain in a way,
and
right?
that would be
Like,
public domain. But if
I
they
don't
turned
know,
around and
that's
said
so
like an
old.
artist that's like a modern artist and used their particular name and says, I want my image to look like their artwork, and then the artist turns around and doesn't get some kind of claim for that, then
Oh, come on, that's a bit
not right.
too much though. I mean, like you're saying that if anyone creates, like if the AI creates art that's inspired, like okay, look, I'm just gonna go back. Like I kind of like, I think this is how it is. Like the way we're speaking about it, as if it's gonna happen. But if you look at what's already been done, they've scraped it. Like they've got all the data sets, they've got the language models. No one can really do anything now. Like it's like how the other time we were speaking, Artific, you talked about how Google, when it first launched, it scraped everything and it crawled the whole internet, and sites were like, hold on, wait a minute, that's illegal. It's kind of the same thing now, you know what I mean? Nobody's going to be able to do anything, unfortunately. That's
I mean,
what I feel,
I think
right?
it's
I mean, I
it's
think
the question
done,
for
man.
cars, honestly. Like I think it's the
Yeah.
really good analogy for Google, but it's different in a lot of cases, and the cars can actually decide it's different, and it can go like this. And even like
And
last
they're
time
already
when we talked
sued,
about
right? Like,
Steam, yeah,
Midjourney's
Steam,
it has some like court cases, right? Midjourney and
yeah, exactly. And like one thing that I wonder is like we are able to use like these images that are obviously not in public domain to create these amazing outputs. If then some smart researcher say, okay, like we can't use these images, but let's say that we can create something like these images to replace it from the public domain to get there, because we actually know where the sort of middle point is, and now we need to create where we started from something from public domain, so for example, if I don't know, like some famous artist right now, but let's go for Leonardo da Vinci. So if, let's say you can't use Leonardo da Vinci's artworks, but then maybe you can recreate them from public
Jason
domain.
Pollock would be better. Like,
okay, so you have Pollock.
Like
so
you can make a model from public domain data and then ask that model to like create something that looks like Leonardo da Vinci somehow.
Yeah, without explicitly
really
saying
small
create something
percentage
like Leonardo da Vinci
data.
or Pollock.
I mean,
but just create a lot of stuff.
right? Which wouldn't work because like I mean, by assumption, it has never seen anything by, let's say, Pollock. So you can't just say like create something about Pollock, because it will be like, who's Pollock? Like, I mean, not literally say that, but you know what I mean. Like,
I think you would need to be smart about it in some way, but I wonder if it would be possible.
But, like,
if you could generalize what the Pollock actually means.
That is very interesting because
like
this sounds like a loophole, right? Because like there's
exactly.
definitely ways to do this, right? You can just like embed the images from like Pollock into like an embedding vector, then use that to guide the generation of the other thing, and then in court say like, we technically have not trained on it. We've used this other thing which is not technically considered training. We've just extracted semantic information, blah blah blah. I can imagine this being used like a loophole and like.
But then you don't even need to say that, because like if that research doesn't need to be public, they did it somewhere, and they don't have it annotated like this vector is Pollock. They have just the vector there, and they I don't know.
But like if it ever comes to light, I can imagine they will be like trying to argue that it's not technically training and therefore it's not against the law, and it's like an edge case, and this kind of. But that is very interesting.
I guess for stylistic things, I mean, it's not. I'm just thinking in the case of like protecting open AI as a business, because it's like they're doing all this work and it's awesome and they're feeding it data and like it's having great output, but then people are getting mad, and that's not on purpose. It's just kind of like a casualty, right? So how would in the future you fix that without it being completely vanilla and boring to use, I guess there's no way.
Yeah,
I guess for
actually-
copying paintings, like that's different because then it's just like brush strokes and like thickness and color, like that. When you can get concepts from so much more data, so it's such a small percentage, which I think that would be easier than like a blatant like photo of someone's face or I don't know,
I think for OpenAI for text,
or like
I actually
text. Yeah.
I actually think that they have their data set from public domain,
Yeah.
or at least like they gathered it when it was
So
in public domain. Then they trained the model, and they have it legally. So even if all those websites
I
actually
guess.
changed
Yeah, I know this author
the
Sarah Silverman is suing them for using
Really?
her book
Sarah
because
Silverman?
there were like quotes all over the place, and she has a bunch of examples of people using her work because they got it from
yeah, but I would
OpenAI.
assume actually that it's that people talked about it, for example, on Reddit. So they don't have it from the book;
yeah.
they have it from Reddit.
That makes sense.
A big part of their data set is actually from Reddit. So then, like, and Reddit was considered public domain. I think there was even court ruling saying that you can use this data for research purposes and whatever.
I guess the solution would just be more data, because when you think about it, like all the archives in the library, like you are going to have for the most part, accurate quotations from different people throughout history. And then on the internet, we go and look for quotations, and then they're like attributed to so many people without any sources whatsoever. Like so many quotes are hard because those books and those historic archives and manuscripts aren't uploaded yet. So I guess more data would be the solution for all of this, I think.
How is a data set actually made? Like, what's a data set? Is it, what is it? Is it just a bunch of text? Or, like, what is it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is it
Yeah, for
text
the case
and
of text, this is just a bunch of text,
and
literally.
then that's it? And then, like, for an image, is it text and an image?
Yeah, it's paired
reference.
text and images.
So
usually.
wait, so
reference.
did someone actually, is this all done manually, or do they write a program that will like compile all this, or like how do they actually go about doing this? Like,
So for text and images, I think, for example, the original ones, of course, they probably do a lot more now, but the original one were scraping the internet for like images that had alt text, which, for example, a lot of Tumblr had, not just alt text, it had also tags and like captions and things.
wow.
So they just scraped a lot of that.
Wow, that's fucking smart.
And I think that's most of it.
Yo,
But then like
that's huge.
OpenAI, OpenAI has millions of the funding, so like they can just like pay 10,000 people to like label images for like years or something, right? And they can afford that. So they probably did some of that as well, but I think the majority still came from websites like that.
A lot of information came from the human checker as well. You know, the "Are you human" kind of thing, and it says
The captcha thing?
choose.
Yeah.
Choose the
seen that,
bike,
yeah.
and you're clicking on the bike.
Yeah.
You're telling it what a bike is.
Yeah, wow.
So that we basically trained the
Yeah.
AI to look for stuff inside the pictures.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah,
The great
yeah.
captcha conspiracy.
I mean,
And
like
if they never
Twitter
used
has
that data,
like
they
such
were
weird
stupid, 'cause
captchas.
that was basically millions of humans choosing like the right.
Yeah, of course they
pictures.
use the data. Yeah, that's the point of it.
Scraping.
I mean, Twitter now has like so many captchas. I think whenever you do some change to your account or just randomly sometimes, at least for me, they ask me to like verify my account that I'm not a
It's
bot.
like
And
4 times or something, eh?
Yeah, actually, it
was
took me
so-
so long to actually figure it out. I don't know if I'm just so dumb, but
no, like sometimes it's really hard. Like one of the times it was
These
asking
better
like,
training models.
what's the
Better
thing that
training
only has
models,
like
so they're just like-
one string, right, or one loop, and it has this like mess of loops. It's actually very hard, and it asks me to do it like.
Ripples all over. Where's the K?
It asked me to do it like 20 times, and because I misclicked once, it's actually like accidentally clicked it. I
Yeah,
didn't even get it. I
yeah.
just clicked wrong. It asked me to do it 20
Soon
times
you
again.
will-
Like I had to
you
get
will
like
need
the 20
AI
times
to
perfect
finish the
in a row.
captcha.
It's like what?
because you will not be able to do it as a human.
Exactly. Yeah. Which actually is very
What are you
interesting
doing
because
on Twitter?
what they will be doing in that case, they will be like farming your compute, basically. I mean, assuming you have your like local AI model on your machine, or farming your API calls money, whatever, you know what I mean. Like, they will still be using us, but like in a different way. But I think you're right. Actually, that's probably what's going to happen, because it actually it ties to the other thing I wanted to talk about, and also to the thing you mentioned, which is DeepMind has published this paper last week about like self-improving AI. Sorry, it was like way too zoomed in. Where they so DeepMind is interesting, right? Because, you know, like obviously it's very famous, like OpenAI, but they haven't done as many like publicly productized things like OpenAI yet. But they say they're working on it. They say they have something that will be better than like even GPT-4 and stuff. I mean, we'll see. But the cool thing is that what they say they're gonna do is they're gonna do like basically more or less what GPT-4 does, but they're gonna combine it with reinforcement learning like they did with AlphaGo and AlphaZero and all the alpha things. Which, if you remember, I mean, you guys know like about AlphaGo, right?
Yeah.
So like, and you remember they then did AlphaZero, which learned to play Go without any human data. So like just from itself, playing to itself.
Reinforcement learning.
Basically, I mean, they don't want to do it like exactly like that, because that's actually probably not feasible for this. But they do want to do like the original AlphaGo, where they train it first on all the data, and then they wanna have the model like improve itself.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
OpenAI did something really cool a couple of years ago. I think they still have it. I think it's called Universe or something like that. And they have like different Flash. I think those are games coded in Flash, basically on website. You can publish your game there as well. And the purpose is that the AI will try to play the game without like any information how to play it, controls or anything, or objective, or what you should do, and it just tries different things. And yes, basically, just try different things, learnings, improving itself, and then it can play, racer games and shooter games and whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting, so that's like reinforcement learning. The interesting thing that I haven't read this paper yet, but I think it's probably similar to something that Anthropic published earlier. I mean, I'm sure they do new things, but the interesting thing here in this case is, unlike games, you don't have like a known reward function, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you have to. So I think what they probably do is they use the language model itself to judge its own outputs. With like good prompts for that or something, and apparently that's like enough to have it continuously improve, which I think is very interesting, right? It's sort of how you can learn like to think better by just analyze, like self-reflection. I mean, it's not enough like for many things, but like you can do some improvement of your own thinking through that.
Wow.
And I think that's what this is basically doing, right?
Wow,
It's
self-reflecting AI.
Yeah, I think it's it's actually similar to the gaming, because in that case, I'm not sure, but I think OpenAI actually like didn't create the objective function, because for different games you would have different scores, different objective functions, and it wasn't able to read the score, or for some if you are a racing game, you don't know what's the purpose, but sort of from the feedback, so you hit something, to guess, okay, like it's probably not good, or I don't know, to try different things, and it continues going. I don't know actually.
I mean, it needs to have a reward. Like I think in most game reinforcement learning, they
there's reward function.
From the game.
It's just that I don't think that I think like the AI needed to figure it out.
Which is the word.
But yeah, you're right that there is some.
Yeah.
I mean, in most of those cases, they do have a specific reward function. Yeah.
So wait, like, do they like search
Yeah.
for which is the reward and which is the punishment? Is that what makes them kind of special compared to the previous ones where they have parameters? You know, they're like they already know which is the reward and which is the punishment. Wait, no, they're the same thing, right? Isn't that all?
No, but like with games, in the usual case, like the reward is predefined as, let's say, like the game score or something. It's like, you know, at every step how much your game score is, because it's known in the game engine, and you know, just maximize that. But like, you know, for things like generating good text, we don't have a function that
Oh,
tells you
right.
perfectly whether this is good text or not. And then, you know, that's why we created reinforcement learning from human feedback. What we do is we use feedback from humans to train a little function that judges similar to how a human will do.
Wow.
I think what they're doing here, I mean, assuming it's similar to what Anthropic did. So anyway, what Anthropic did is what they do is reinforcement learning from AI feedback. So they just like take off the human and they just have another AI or just the same AI, you know, give feedback to itself,
Yeah, that's cool.
and then train a little function that, like, you know,
thinking.
judges itself. Yeah, like it's sort of self-reflection, right? It's sort of like
Yeah,
looks.
that's-
So it's because like the way GPT like models work is just like spout text in a similar way of when you just like say something, you know, without deep reflection, just like automatically, semi-automatically, just like blah 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 blah, right? And then what it's doing is like it does that, generates text, and then it actually looks at the things generated and like says like, wait, did this make sense? And if it does, then it says like, yeah, good reward. And if it doesn't, say like, no, like, remember this is not good. And then, you know, tries again and like tries to improve iteratively over
Yeah.
time.
You remind me of the
And did
character.
did Anthropic or
Sorry.
someone else already run some experiments with it? I think it would be quite cool to know, because it would be like more objective, sort of like a mirror for humanity.
I believe
Because
Anthropic has already used this technique for their model, Claude, I think.
Okay,
Wow.
because it would be like
But,
this is what the humans think is good language, and this is what AI think is good language.
They've
Well,
already
yeah, I mean,
Obviously,
like,
it would be-
language, have they not?
if it
AI
goes too
not.
far in this direction, I think it will be. It's like the thing is that at the beginning it's probably getting closer to what we will consider like really good thing. But I think you're right. If we let it run for like really long, right? Like it's probably gonna start diverging over time. I don't know. Like it will be interesting.
Really interesting to know
I
for
seen
sure.
somewhere
yeah.
that they'd already come up with a better way to compress information. So say 10 AIs talk to each other and say, I worked out this today. And
Yeah,
they
that's
combine
kind of
all
like
that
what
information together,
I'm thinking.
and then
in
they
my head.
compress it down into like a one, like the code's shrunk every single time. And they've managed to get to a certain point now that the code's so small that every time that the language model gets bigger, they compress it again. And then it gets bigger and they compress it, and it's compressing on itself. And they don't understand what's happening now with the code because it's been compressed so much.
Hmm. Wow.
You guys make me think of this whole, like, it's not one AI, it's multiple AI systems interacting with each other, right? So, like, in the game Mass Effect, there's a character, his name is Legion, right? And he's basically an AI robot, right? But the species he comes from, a single AI system on its own is completely dumb. But then when you get like a bunch of them together, they become like aware, like they become really, really smart. And so like in the game, the guy, he's got like 1,116 different AIs, you know, that make him up. And in a sense, we're kind of like that too. Do you guys think, I mean, when we talk about AGI, it's not going to be chat GPT by itself. It's going to be a combination of systems coming together, right, to form a singularity. Do you think like that's kind of like how like we're going to progress this like AI, like multiple AI systems interacting with each other to form a greater one? Is that how we
that
are?
will be definitely something that exists, but I feel like it'll be a little more decentralized just because there's so many different corporations with
Yeah.
different, you know, agendas and demographics, and so it depends. Like so many AIs are trained to do different things that are not necessarily even related to each other. So I think what you're saying will happen. Like there will be like some sort of maybe singularity in the future, but I think it would be distant in the future if we even, like, if humanity even exists by then. I kind of doubt. I don't know.
Really?
My imagination, a dumbed down version, is a bit like we're all AIs right now, and we've all combined together to source and try to work out a problem that we're trying to do. And obviously, I don't know how they would like interact or like pay each other, but there'll be some kind of payment system
Yeah, or
between
kind of making
the AIs to get that to happen.
Okay.
yeah.
Let me put you up. Can you hear?
Is she speaking?
Aliens or the UFOs that you see. Well, sorry.
Wrong button.
It wasn't. It sounded normal to me.
What were you
So,
Yeah.
what if the UFOs and the aliens that you see are just avatars and they're people that just time traveled?
Maybe. I don't know. But I mean, if they come back in time, wouldn't they be affecting our timeline? Aren't there like some rules? I don't know.
But the
I don't know, maybe they broke the rules.
No,
Oh, so that's why they're
to
here.
make first
to fix the
contact until they've been able to travel space or something. I can't remember what the rule was.
Is time even real,
Oh,
though? Isn't
yeah.
it just our perspective? Like,
I think
we
it's
can't...
based on our biology, because at the end of the day, time is like the process for which like cells, you know, do their chemical stuff. You know, like
Entropy?
it's like the. I mean, yeah, it's entropy. It's the breakdown of things over time, and things can only break down over time. So I think our process.
That's the second law of thermodynamic, right? You're talking about.
Yeah, I think that like the processes like our biology is what makes us experience time, right? If it wasn't for our biology, like I don't know how a plant experiences time, right? How does a plant experience time when it lives for like thousands of years?
I mean, not the same as us, I'm pretty sure. I mean, as far as we know, like time is, you know, it's like a thing that appears in physics. Like I think Einstein had this quote, which is like, time is the thing that, you know, makes everything not happen at the same time. I don't know, that sounds really stupid.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Like I think he said it better, but like it's something like that, right? In physics, it's just like a label for like a bunch of things. I mean, there's this guy called John Barber, which actually has a very well respected like physics interpretation of physics where there is no time. And it turns out you can have physics which is totally consistent, and there's like no mention of anything called time.
Yeah, but then how about the breakdown of a chemical that happens over time, or like?
Well, the way his theory works is like, at any instant, you know, your experience is just like, you know, what's there right now. Well, you simplifying things and like your memory and stuff, right? It's like some configuration of all the universe. And like his theory is just like there's a particular probability distribution of all possible configurations of the universe, which means like the universe might be in a state where, you know, I'm here looking at this like thing and like, you know, all this, you know, I'm observing all these things, and I have a particular set of memories about what I did yesterday, and all these things are encoded on the state of the universe. And then another possible state of the universe is like the same thing, but I don't have the memories about yesterday. I have the memories about 2008, and I'm observing something consistent with those memories according to his laws of physics. And another possible state of the universe is, you know, I'm like 46 and I have memories about 20, 30, whatever. And like, you know, and he just says like, all these are possibilities of the universe. And that's it. Mm-hmm. There's no need for things to flow. They're like, these are just things that can exist.
There's no time.
But
It's just like scrambled eggs, and then you drop a point in the scrambled eggs, and you get what you get.
Yeah,
the universe
it's
is all the
it's
eggs.
it's really wonky and like, but very very interesting actually, and
Scrambled egg.
and he has a way to like reformulate all of physics, all of classical physics, and all of physics basically into this formalism when there's no time, and you can like formulate the laws as in terms of constraints between like things like properties of the state of the universe,
Oh.
and that's it. Like there's no
Wow.
time. It's just like he actually goes into the math. He's like, you know, he has like very proper theoretical
That's
background,
cool.
and it's
The universe based
What's
on
his
the
name?
it's really
constraints.
cool.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
And John Barber.
It makes me think of
So
Alan
for example, like
Turing and like
you know, like, rather than describing like, you know, the orbit of a planet by you know Newton's laws, which says like the change in position over time is blah blah blah. Well, actually, he didn't like you can describe the orbits of planets as just like, you know, any concentric circle, no, any conic section that has like one planet in a focus or something, and anyway, you can just describe with geometry. just like you can describe like all the possible shapes of orbits of planets, and not just of two planets, of any number of planets, and he does that, and like yeah, like just with geometry, like no evolution in time, just like all the possible snapshots. Basically, it's like all the possible. Actually, it's kind of similar to diffusion, right? It's like imagine like you have a model that generates like all possible snapshots of the universe,
wow.
and that's it. All possible images, all possible pictures you could take on the universe on any time, and you have a model that generates that. You know, like that will be pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. That's really awesome.
Um,
You have me like lost in thought kind of now thinking about this. A universe based on constraints. That's like, you know what I mean? It's possible. Like you don't need time for that. It's like, yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is interesting. I mean, it's interesting that you can do it, but it's also interesting
Can you
that
experience?
you know time actually is a useful concept, and you know most of the time we use time in physics like to describe things, and mostly due to the second law of thermodynamics. And there's you know all these people trying to figure out what the second law actually even comes from, and it's probably some kind of asymmetry. I mean, if you were trying to describe it in terms of constraints, it's probably some kind of, you know, the universe is not symmetric. There's a certain kind of asymmetry and stuff, and in terms of its shape. And
So the universe is
I
like
don't know, like
a
it's
disc
kind
on a
of
2D plane
complicated, I
being
guess.
projected, and we're experiencing the hologram of that. Like that kind of a, you know, like we're experiencing a section of that infinitude.
I'm sort of saying something more like, you know, I guess if you wrote like the laws of physics as John Barber does in terms of just constraints, there probably will be some constraint that says, I mean, there might be like some constraint that says something like the higher entropy, the state of the universe, or maybe there's some constraint that says like things like life can only happen when there's like a lot of entropy or something.
I like to think that like
And-
life
and-
is
yeah,
the
I don't
answer
know.
to entropy. That the universe is breaking down, right? And like we're
It's
trying
probably more
to
complicated than
put
that.
it back together again. You know, like we're trying to like take things from here and make a structure, like buildings and stuff. But the universe is constantly shifting and moving. It's like sand moving through your hand when you're building like a castle. That's what I
Oh
like
yeah,
to think
it
of
reminds me this sci-fi where people created a machine that were supposed to figure out how to reverse entropy. And yeah, so they created this machine, and it's just keep growing. And yeah, people were already long gone, and it just kept growing, and then it got like to subspace and something else, and just like consumed the energy from the universe, and then there was like no more universe, and then the machine figured it out and reversed it and started new universe.
Wow.
And yeah,
Wow.
that's how universe
That's how universes are
was
born.
created.
Yeah. Interesting. Huh. Cool.
I think in reality is very complicated because
Maybe it's not. What if it's like simple, right?
I mean, because like, and I don't know enough about this, but like I know, for example, the interplay of like the whole universe as a space-time thingy, and entropy is very complicated because if you look at like just after the Big Bang, everything was like a soup of quarks. That's very high entropy, and then everything like expanded and cooled down and like collapsed into like stars and planets. That's actually kind of very low entropy if you think about it. Like, so, like there's a very non-trivial interaction between gravity and entropy, but ignoring that, like locally within
Love you guys.
like, small volumes.
Have a good night, Mikey.
Have a good
Sorry,
night.
I'm too tired. Sorry. Bye bye.
Good night.
Continue, please.
Yeah, ignoring that, like, locally entropy does increase. I mean, like that's a very well supported fact that like we've never seen it violated. And like life is actually totally consistent with that. So like the way life works is we create low entropy in a certain region, like in our bodies and stuff, but like at the expense of emitting heat, which is actually higher entropy than the food we consume, and so we actually generate, and it's actually very interesting because there's even like theories like Jeremy England that says actually life is one of the most effective things at generating generating entropy.
Yeah, chaos. Those guys love chaos.
because we consume energy, right? And consuming energy in the like way we mean it is basically generating entropy. Like we take highly ordered energy and like we can generate heat, like waste heat and stuff, and like yeah, but like so that we can like sustain ourselves. It's kind of interesting, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, okay, we're going to be closing this episode off. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and thank you, Guile, for enlightening us. Really, man, you got me like sitting here like reflecting now. Is man a creator? Is man a destroyer? I don't know anymore.
Maybe both.
We are both. We're everything. Yo, jump in, guys. Let's take a group
Let's take a picture.
Picture. Yo, get in there.
Yes.
Wilson, get in there.
Picture time.
Go. Yeah.
Yeah, we want 2D people as well.
Right. Awesome.
Yay.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And
Abu.
1, 2, 3. Okay, over there. Camera's right there. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Singularity. Here we come.
Singularity.
Thank you.
Awoo.
Thank you, wonderful viewers, for joining us on today's episode of Immersed Minds. We hope you have a wonderful weekend. Yeah, the future's ours, baby. Woo!
Yeah.